Good morning. How is everyone doing? I hope you're all doing well. I'm pretty excited for this match today. How about you, Asher?
Yeah, me too. It'll be interesting to see how these guys can do. Their PBs are not too far apart in the grand scheme of things. But Nintoaster upsetting Scotty in the round of 32, with Scotty having a bit of a mishap on Mother Brain 1, even though he was quite far ahead in that race. So Nintoaster makes it to this round instead, and will be behind hotarubi's PB by a little bit, but I think he's close enough that this could still be an interesting race.
Yeah, Nintoaster came into the qualifiers. He came out of the qualifiers, the 25 seed. Hotarubi is the 9 seed. Improved his PB a lot recently, I'm pretty sure, by like several minutes. So, about a 119, whereas Nintoaster, I believe, has a 122 for PB.
Yeah, I think Nintoaster actually, did he get a 122 in one of the races in this tournament?
I think so. I think round 1 he did.
We're going to have them synced up in just a little bit. So Nintoaster runs the early Crocomire route, and hotarubi runs the early ice route. Early ice being the faster one by a pretty small margin, assuming you execute everything in it correctly.
Hey, hotarubi, a little bit ahead coming out of Sarah's station. One of the trickier parts of the game is that last room there. But lots of time for Nintoaster to just play it cool, play his game, and have a good time.
Yeah, and these two are actually competing for entry into the money round. 5th place, tied for 5th place, will get $75 out of the prize pool, with progressively larger amounts going to the top 4. So whoever wins this match is getting $75 out of it at the end of the tournament, at least.
Yeah, that's really, really awesome. A few very generous volunteers for our total $2,250 prize pool.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's the largest prize pool that we've ever had for a Super Metroid tournament, and that is including past tournaments where we've had brand sponsors. This one was actually pulled together entirely by the community. Alright, that's construction zone. The down back near the block, saving about a quarter second. Oh, and Nintoaster not quite getting the one shot. So, like, what you want to do on the way back is you want to have the shot graze the side of the block and kind of go in between the blocks so that you can get up in one shot instead of 2. mostly even still. Hotarubi making a little bit of a mistake going into the climb. Nintoaster using ledge grabs, Hotarubi using wall jumps. Wall jumps slightly faster if both go completely optimally.
Yeah, but I definitely like the look of the ledge grab climb. It looks very, very clean when well executed, which Nintoaster of course did. Nintoaster taking a little tiny lead here, coming into Bomb Chorizo.
Yeah, this is interesting. So they're a few minutes apart and 100% PBs, and I would say that Hotarubi is the more skilled runner overall in this category and generally across other categories, but Nintoaster does have a really good GT Classic time. So he might not have put quite as much into this category, but for these beginning parts, we're seeing him keep ahead of Hotarubi.
Yeah, both runners have been running this game for a long time. Nintoaster has been around for a while. I assume Hotarubi has been around for a long while as well. Don't know exactly how long though. I don't know if you know.
I don't actually know when he started. I just know that his records of relevance were in like 2008, and it took a few years before they were beaten at all. But Nintoaster has been around for a few years. He was in our first Super Metroid tournament on SpeedGaming. Actually, we had an 80% tournament in around 2016, like early part of 2015 maybe. It was a really long time ago. So he's just been kind of around in and out of the community.
Yeah, and a very, very solid runner. Got
So
a little tripped up before Terminator by not having enough missiles that he wanted, but so getting a little bit behind here.
Hota's ahead by one fanfare. And getting the reserve tank first, which is a little bit faster because you can wall jump check it. It seems more intuitive to mock wall under the reserve tank and go get these items first. But people have timed it. I timed it myself just to make sure that it was faster for me as well, and it is faster to grab the reserve tank. And I'm pretty sure it's entirely because of the wall jump check. Yeah, so Hota's record that saved the animals was because they were going by in-game time at the time, and he had known that his pace was not good enough for it to make a difference in the final in-game time.
Well, both going for the reverse mock ball, and both of them not quite getting it up there.
They did make it out using the quick drop, though.
Nice mock balls each entry. Pink Brin saves a little bit of time there.
I've gotten yelled at for doing that mock ball. Apparently some people say it's better to just run through the door and stop at the right time. So they're ignoring the missiles next to charge beam because we're taking a second trip for item cleanup later. And it's like less than a second faster to get the missile pack at that time, because you're waiting for a power bomb to explode. Actually, gonna switch audio over to Hotarubi since he's in the lead by a good amount.
Right, neither runner getting power bombs early, so probably wouldn't make sense for an Nintoaster to do something like that, doing early croc, but an option if you want, and if you want to be careful not to forget the Crane missile.
It's something basically nobody does these days except for Zost.
Yeah, I can imagine unless you're like really good, like Zost, that it's probably slower, but haven't timed it myself or anything.
Yeah, I haven't either. Oh, nice crate entry from Hotarubi, using all three of the supers to break open the wall. So it saves a couple seconds to use all your supers on this entry. It's less safe to do so, and it nicely done by Nintoaster. I think he actually did it a little bit better because he didn't have to catch himself on the wall jump at the end. One of the things that makes that strat difficult is if you jump too high when doing the jump across, you can bonk part of the ceiling. And Hotarubi, I think he's putting himself in the best position to, I think he's going to take some spike damage, maybe, to reduce lag, make Samus blink.
Oh, very nicely done. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, it's pretty, you have to practice that a lot to not have it mess up your quick kill strategy.
And we're 2 for 2 on the quick kills, very nice.
Yeah, so Nintoaster didn't go for it. It's something that requires a huge amount of attention to detail to be able to do confidently. Like, that's something that I wouldn't do myself. But it saves a very small amount of time. And Hotarubi, I think he's getting the mock ball out of the warehouse. That one's tough because you have to get a very specific jump to not bonk the wall in front of you.
Yeah, that looked very smooth.
Getting Kraid's energy tank did that room very nicely as well.
It's hard for me to tell if Nintoaster got that mock ball as well. It looked like he was rolling fast.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention, actually. It's pretty noticeable, I think, so if it looked like he got it, then he probably got it. He's not really doing an optimal strat to leave Crady tank room. I think people used to call that the fridge, actually. I think the name kind of died years ago. But I
thought it was like the janitor's closet.
It was repurposed. Janitor's closet sounds like a more modern thing.
The B-Toms are hard at work mopping the warehouse.
That's a good question. Is morphing part of the Kraid quick kill strategy? It's part of reducing lag because Samus' sprite is just smaller in morph. So if you don't want to do take the spike hits to make Samus blink, then that's like the next best thing you can do. Okay, so Hotarubi going into the cathedral, and one of the biggest differences in the 100% is you have to remember to get this missile, because otherwise this plays a lot like any percent older out in this section, but having to get that missile changes the room strat.
Nintoaster accidentally shooting a super with the down grab. So he has to get a drop here. Otherwise, he won't be able to get through the door.
That's
he got
Yeah,
one.
That's really fortunate that he got one. The Novas aren't too bad of a drop rate for it, but you lose a lot of time if you happen to not get one. It's a nice bat cave from hotarubi. Doing one of the farms on the way in, it mitigates some of the in-room time loss from needing to jump through the door to fix the transition. So there's like a different way that you can do the room. And like without having to fix the door, but it's less optimal. You more or less get a farm for free, because you're using some of the time from the farm to make you lose less time on the door fix.
And then Toaster didn't take the early farm, so he's gonna have to use missiles on this door here. But I think that's generally what people do in any percent.
I usually use missiles on it, I think, here, yeah. Oh, falling down in double chamber, but is able to recover quickly. If your platform cycles get off when you fall in double chamber, it could be tough to get back up. So this, the super shot on the wave door, that's actually the place where I'm the most afraid of accidentally shooting a super down when I'm trying to down grab the ledge. I don't do it that often in pre-cathedral. Oh, and Toaster doing a gap skip by shrinking his hitbox. Which actually, I don't like that one because that uncenters the door. But Hoda actually falling down and not really being able to get up the second time, so actually just entering single chamber through the bottom door. Which actually messes up the single chamber strats a lot because the multi-viola is not on the right cycle anymore. Okay, so instead of going to Crocomire, hotarubi is going to go and get Ice Beam. Is going to use Ice Beam to Ice Clip to Spring Ball later in the route. Oh, really nice pre-ice room. Didn't even overshoot the tunnel when morphing into it. Didn't go above where he needed to go. And also getting all of the Novas dead.
Alright, say hello to Krokmar on the Toaster side. Coming into kind of this divergence, probably about 20 seconds behind hotarubi, so we'll see how it goes when they converge again later.
Yeah, that's going to be a long time later that they'll converge, basically at X-ray, and that's most of the run, and it's most of the difficult parts of the run, I would say, that is in that section, so if there's going to be more, I guess, divergence in terms of, you know, a lead or whatnot, a lot more of that change is going to happen in that section of the race. So I think we're going to see the distance apart change by quite a bit. It's really satisfying to just be able to use ice efficiently to climb Red Tower if you're used to not having it.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
It's nice and crisp. Nintoaster trying to spark through the open door to get to Crocomire power bombs. That spark is super annoying because your giant spark hitbox just extends really far below your sprite visually. The sprite and the hitbox don't match up very well. No, I would not say that. I would absolutely not say that. I didn't pay attention to what strat Hotarubi was going into beta power bombs with, but it looked like maybe he failed the short charge. He had to kill all the side hoppers purely using power bombs, which is more lag than the speed booster strategies. And Nintoaster didn't kind of swing to get over to the final Ripper for this, so he's got to do a backup Shrine Spark up.
Yeah, that's one of the harder strats in this route, I think, because you can't see that last Ripper while you're swinging on the third one, so you kind of don't really know when to grapple, I think, unless you have really good muscle memory for it.
Yeah, I think fortune favors the bold on that one. Like, if you do it really decisively, I think you have a better chance of getting it. So Hotarubi foregoing the Ocean Fly because he had some issues getting the spark and getting the door open in the room before the moat. So having to charge that spark again, just decides to do it straight through the moat door and not worry about setting up the Ocean Fly shot in the next room. There's also little things like that in a race where if strat goes slightly wrong, it's kind of a skill to know when to cut your losses with it.
Very nice speedball into Fantoon, and we'll see if Fantoon gives Hotarubi some nice patterns today, or if Fantoon decides to be mean. He's being mean.
I think that was 5 or 6 on the Doppler, which is about what you need. Gonna get another off-screen pattern.
Wow, that was a very nice Fantoon fight.
Yeah, that's basically how you want it to go. So you need a 6 missile Doppler on the first round and a 5 missile plus super on the second round.
Nintoaster's so close to getting that ledge grab up Red Tower.
Oh yeah, it's a really cool strat. I'm sad he didn't get it. I didn't know he mained that, actually. Or I don't know if he mains it, but I didn't know that he went for it.
He does indeed. Does that have a name? Because I'm having a hard time thinking of it.
Oh, it's just the Red Tower down grab strat.
Oh, that's boring. Who named that?
I don't know. Did you have a better one in mind?
Give me time to think about it.
Nice work robot manipulation for Hotarubi in the wreck ship right super room, though. That's not actually something I've learned. I usually have them more in the way, but it makes it so that the damage boosts that he set up just worked really well with their positions. Okay, Nintoaster getting a Shine Spark off, but not actually hitting all the side hoppers with it, so he also got some extra lag. Oh, this is scary. This is really scary.
Big clutch.
Yeah, so hotarubi is I am really surprised that he went for that. So that Kazan can squash you into the ceiling. If you end up inside it, you take 100 damage. And he needs to not fall here because he's probably not going to survive. He doesn't make this.
Yeah, I think he could take one spike hit if he fell, but I don't think he would survive if he hit the fish. Ugh.
You're gonna take more than one spike hit if you fall in the deep end too.
Yeah, that's true.
So he no longer has the reserve tank to fall back on. Managing energy in the wreck ship is really important, as we've seen in races before this. And he's not having a great time with energy on the way back through spiky room of death either. But you want all this energy for the gauntlet wraparound shot in Gauntlet Spark. And he's just almost certainly not going to have enough to do all of that stuff optimally. So I'm not sure how he's going to compensate for that. Nintoaster has an extra energy tank. So the energy management is easier for the early croc route in this section. Nice speed key from hotarubi. Wow. That is a frame perfect trick. It's kind of hard to spot if you aren't used to seeing it, but it's a frame perfect trick with unmorphing on a spike hit, and it lets you keep all the running speed that you had before.
Yeah, for either route that you take, no matter what, this is probably the most deadly section in a hundo route. Toaster gets a pretty nice X Factor on Phantom there, so doing two different strats to get the ghost down.
Yeah, he's getting a double slow here. Assuming that he lands the kill. Oh, I don't think that...
Yeah,
okay, no, he knows what he's doing. Okay.
I thought Toaster has played this game once.
I misidentified the pattern, so I thought he was doing something wrong. I just got concerned for a little bit. But yeah, so I think he got a slow and hotarubi got a slow fast. And we found out kind of recently that slows are actually 6 seconds slower than the mid, and not 5, like was, commonly thought before. hotarubi going for Robot Flusher, and I definitely heard that first shot connect. I'm not sure about the second. I'm not sure if you're actually supposed to be able to hear that one. But he's shooting the work robots in the floor so that they're already going to be in the pits when he gets down there, and he doesn't have to wait for them.
That sounds extremely handy, because those work robots are really annoying and take a really long time to shoot over into the pits.
Okay, yeah, he didn't get the second one. I didn't hear that one. I think you are supposed to be able to hear both of them. I did like that he got the quick drop by turning around on the crumble block as the statue dropped him. Okay, so it looks like he was trying to conserve. He was actively trying to conserve energy with that. Oh, we don't want to see Nintoaster have similar issues in Spiky Room. Okay, so he's gonna get away with his reserve, so he has a chance to have better health management here. So I noticed hotarubi was trying to conserve energy by jumping up to wreck ship reserve before doing a spark. Just trying to keep as much of that energy as possible by shortening the amount of distance sparked. And that's interesting to me because it suggests that he's going to try and make do with this amount of energy and do criteria power bombs and gauntlet with this amount of energy. So I'm not really sure how well that's going to work out. I was kind of excited to see the possibility of like rerouting on the fly to do gauntlet at the end, which I haven't timed it myself, but I've heard from different sources that it's faster than taking a ship refill if need be.
He's running right by. So
Okay.
we'll get your wish.
Okay, I've been waiting to see a late gauntlet for like the whole tournament. Because I think it really is the best option to deal with this kind of scenario, and most people do not take it when they're in this kind of situation. I just thought that him trying to reduce the amount of energy he lost on one of the shrine sparks earlier was like evidence that because like that health conservation doesn't really matter as much if you're not going to do gauntlet right now. So this you know, diverges the route even further. One of the things that I actually don't really like about the early ice versus early croc route is that because of not doing Crocomire, it looks like the early ice route. It looks like the player taking it has a huge advantage, when really the route doesn't save nearly as much time. And hotarubi doing late gauntlet actually is making that gap even wider. The reason it kind of bugs me is like it always lines up so that the person that you would expect to be ahead, like usually the person that you're expecting to be the better player is the one that's going to do early ice. So it looks like the person you're expecting to be favored in the matchup is like 6-7 minutes ahead. And like they are ahead, it's just that they're not really that much ahead. But it's the conditions are just believable to where if you aren't aware of the route differences, then it looks that way.
I did really like Nintoaster's strat on the way back out of Attic, if anyone caught that. It just looked really pretty with the deboost at the end. And now he's rolling. He did not go for that same strat hotarubi did. So he'll have a little bit of a slower time getting the reserve.
Oh, are you talking about Robot Flusher?
Yeah, I've never heard the name before.
Yeah, you pretty much only go for it if you're willing to Doppler Fantune. And if you're not good enough to 2-round Fantune at the Doppler, then it's usually better to go for X Factors instead, which means you're turning off Spacer, which means that your shot isn't wide enough for the Robot Flusher to work.
Can I ask a dumb question?
I don't know, can you?
I'm gonna. If you're turning it off anyway, why do we get Spacer right away? Instead of later? Because you pass by that another time.
You'd have to turn it off anyways for Botfoon if you got it on the way to Meridia. And Spacer, I think Spacer just helps a little bit in Upper North Air. Like, I'm pretty sure Spacer saves time in Cathedral, because you have to deal with the Garudas on the way to getting the missile. So now we're getting the charge missiles, or hotarubi's getting the charge missiles that were skipped earlier. I want to see if he gets the charge clip on the way out. Nintoaster also skipping Gauntlet, leaving it for the end. I wasn't paying too much attention to his health, but I guess, yeah, typically, like, his health isn't low enough unless he pops his reserve, and typically, if you're doing the early ice run, or, like, if you haven't turned off your beams yet, that's a good opportunity to do so. Yo, nice charge clip.
Yeah, you got it. Very nice.
That clip's pretty tough because you have to do it blind. And it's a more awkward type of ceiling clip than the one that you do in the wreck ship. You have to wedge yourself in a certain way, and it's like, if you're like, basically you try and get it so that you're standing fully upright in a 2-tile gap, and if you're in that position, you can get your feet stuck partially in the floor by pressing jump and then hitting down and then down right, or down and then down diagonal. And then when your feet's stuck on the floor, your head isn't touching the ceiling all the way. So the game detects air above Samus's head. So it thinks that you're okay to jump.
Really like Nintoaster's moonfall at the top of Green Bryn. Dodging all those platforms, probably not easy to do when your full speed is extremely fast.
Yeah, I'm personally not that great at dodging the platforms in that rune at regular full speed. Did Hoda take a couple tries for that short charge for Main Street missiles?
I did not see.
Oh, and he has to do the short charge in rune for Mama Turtle because I guess he blocked the door on the way in. That's a tough short charge to get in rune. They're both still the amount of time apart that you expect from a Crocomire versus Ice route divergence.
hotarubi remembering crab supers.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone wouldn't remember those. Like, actually, is that a mistake anyone else makes? I can't think of anyone else who's made it. Oh, that was actually super neat from Nintoaster. I haven't seen that before. He did a damage boost off one of the Zeelas that are hiding in the ceiling, like the ones that when you see through the door, they pop out of the ceiling.
Oh wow.
It's faster because you just want to get as much forward speed as you can. Also, hotarubi doing a really good job in the I almost said the other name for the watering hole. It's a bit unintuitive. Like a lot of rando players, myself included, for a long time, I don't see paying attention to the proper watering hole strat. But you want to fall down, and you want to miss the center pedestal and land next to it, and then jump cleanly over it when touching the items on either side. And he did that really nicely. Now he's going into Baltroon. He ran back off the ledge because he wants to run into the room at a very specific speed to normalize the setup for the X Factor.
Oh wow, he missed one super, but still got the win round. It's very nice.
Yeah, Hondo doesn't punish you too much for missing supers and Baltroon, things like that. Especially since there's 3 super packs in Meridia. Which is well known to all of us bingo players. It's like actually kind of a funny thing about being familiar with bingo, is that we really get to know how much of each type of item is in each area.
Yeah, exactly, and for how large Norfair is, there's only one super pack in Norfair.
Hotarubi setting up Rain Dance, which is a slightly more lag-inducing, but more consistent way of getting the X Factor for Dragon. Doesn't get blue suit off of it. I don't know if he was going for it. Maybe just trying to rely on the spike suit. Doesn't get the spike suit either.
Second try, Main Street missiles for Nintoaster as well, so no time lost or gain there.
The fish did not really want to let him moonfall there, though.
Fish are rude.
So I guess I haven't paid... I don't pay a lot of attention to runs of this category, honestly. Getting precious missiles after Dragon, is that a common thing? Is that like the thing to do if you're just banking on getting spike suit? Like, I imagine that's the most optimal because of space jump, but I just haven't paid attention to whether top runners have actually been doing that.
I don't think I've ever seen that done, to be honest. I feel like that would cause you to forget about them, but if that's what you're used to, then I guess not.
I would definitely forget about them. Oh, yeah, okay. It's a decent point. Behemoth, probably is slightly slower to get them after just because you aren't taking your forward speed from, the very left side of the room. Just lots of little details to keep in mind. Oh, and Hotarubi did a very safe way of falling with the temporary blue suit through the blocks to avoid the soft lock. You can just roll straight out of morph and hold angle out of it and just fall like that. It looked like he... Actually, I don't know if he really meant to do it the safe way. I think he did that kind of as a backup when he realized that he didn't actually fall through. So when you unmorph, you're holding angle. You still have the effects of the blue suit active, and as long as if you jump with it, as long as you still face the same direction, and as long as you're still holding the angle button and you don't bonk anything, you'll still retain the effects of it. Okay, now he's setting up for an ice clip setup.
Wow, perfect.
You guys see the broken camera one too often anymore. So it is a pixel perfect position on the Puyo to be able to jump through the ceiling there. And it's tough to do if you just go for it with no setup. But I think there's 3 different setups that people use that works in slightly different ways. But a lot of them, the premise behind most of them is that either you're using a side effect of the charge beam to buffer an uncharged shot that you release at a specific time, so that it's like always at the same time every time, or you get it so that, like with the broken camera, when you get it so that you activate the Puyo on screen for the same amount of time every time. And I think that was a cleaner bot tune fight for Nintoaster.
Yeah, it was a little cleaner. Very nicely done. I'm gonna go for full halfie here.
Oh, that was a really crisp down grab.
Very nice. Yeah, Nintoaster has really excellent, really solid movement. A pretty consistent player overall.
I'm starting to notice that hockey just seems to get really excited about Coliseum strats in particular. And I think maybe that might be because when he commentates, he sees himself as being in a Coliseum.
So they're gonna show off the newish plasma room strat here.
He's trying to damage boost off of that pirate laser. Didn't quite get it.
Yeah, I think he tried for it, but I think he fell there at the bottom and didn't quite get it. Still a valiant effort.
Like he tried to damage boost off the pirate laser and got a Kago upwards through it instead, which is like sorry, you prevent getting the knockback in a case where you want it. I like how I pushed Ataki.
I was wondering.
The mistake is you prevent getting knockback at all in a case where you want the knockback specifically to damage boost, and it has a very it just has an extremely different result from what you want. So like he was trying to damage boost left and he just went really far up instead. The pirate, the laser deboost in particular is pretty difficult because it's a projectile, and projectiles give you fewer frames to damage boost with than a regular enemy hit. Okay, 1 fewer frame to be exact.
Yeah, 1. Yeah, 4 frames instead of 5 frames.
Hoda did get the Batru E-Tank. I remember him specifically going out of his way to get it the first time, getting stuck in the sand a little bit, but still wanting to get it on the first trip. Nintoaster has an extra E-Tank because he's done Crocomire already, and Hotarubi hasn't, so Hotarubi's doing the more optimal early ice route. When falling...
Go ahead.
Nah, you take this one.
I was just going to mention that both runners saved Gauntlet for later, so they don't have that E-Tank.
Oh yeah, that's also true. I didn't consider that. But I was thinking more about the comparison between them is still slightly off. I thought you were going to comment on Hotarubi falling through the crumble. Oh, nice damage boost off the Ivir. The double damage boost off there in the left half of the sewer is really cool. And actually, since we're talking about projectiles, the stuff the Veer shoots at you is not technically a projectile. It's actually part of the enemy. And one interesting side effect of that is that if you kill the Veer that shoots it, I don't know what to call it since it's not a projectile, but the stuff that shoots at you disappears as soon as it dies because it's actually part of the enemy itself. So, I mean, that also means you get 5 frames to damage boost off it instead of 4.
Let's Ever puke.
Oh, do you puke out of your tail?
Is that where it comes from? I just assumed it came out of their mouth. I never noticed.
I don't know, actually. I don't really know much about the anatomy of an Eevee.
They do it a lot while they're under the sand, so you can't tell.
I bet Feedy knows because he drew my Eevee emote for me, so I'll have to ask him. Oh, nice strat into Carmel Tower.
It comes out of their tummy.
He actually did that super well, like, didn't even get very much lag off of the ice shots. That strat's super nuanced. This jump is super tight, too. Yeah, the strat going into Carmel Tower is super nuanced because you have to do a lot of ice shots to freeze the enemies so that they're not in your path, and kill the enemies that you've frozen in your path so that they're also not in your path anymore. And also, nice chronic boost from the lower door. Setting it up from the lower door is quite a bit more difficult, because you just have a lot less time to get everything into position. Nintoaster doing one of the more safer plasma room strats. One of the ones without hitting ice.
Yeah, that was pretty traditional strat. Pretty old school.
There's a much better strat with without ice, but I always find that I miss one of the pirates. Just like barely off screen and don't realize it. Well, whatever like hotarubi saved in the on the way to Crumble Tower is coming out in here. But his flame dance, I guess, are we calling it flame dance? The blue spring ball on the way to the golden statue. That was really good by him. Oh, that was pretty... that was pretty optimal, what hotarubi did at the end of the screw attack room. You want to make sure that you break only the left block, so that you get as much run speed as possible into the next room. And it's pretty risky because it's pretty easy to just break the block next to a screw attack as well. So he broke spin in a very specific way to make sure that that didn't happen.
A little spoopy. Is that the mock ball into the Mickey Mouse? That's... You want to get there?
Yeah, that's what hotarubi just did. I don't think that one's too bad. It's kind of easy to mess up the mock ball, but because the very far left tile on the floor isn't a crumble, I don't think it's too risky. It is actually tough, though, because you have to get both of the down inputs for your morph. Both of them have to come out after screw attacking the floor.
Alright, Nintoaster remembers to go back for these missiles here.
Yeah, you can go back for these after Lauren Orpher as well. But I really like doing it here because you get to go for the spring ball strat for the crate entry. And hotarubi running all the way back to the right in the Metal Pirates room to try and set up for the spring ball, the space jump into spring ball strat through basically the next 2 rooms. I guess that's probably technically worth it.
A really nice speedball into the ice beam, or the pre-ice beam room, as hotarubi taking on Ridley, and that was that.
But did he use like 15 supers in that fight?
Yeah, it was kind of a lot, but he has a lot.
He has a lot more than you would normally have, than I normally see people having at this point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, I liked that exit out of Ridley. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
I wasn't looking, but was it the one where you're kind of space jumping like really slowly through the room?
It was like he didn't touch the right wall at all.
Yeah, that's the optimal one. You have to have really good control of space jump to pull that off. Like, you just have to have a really good understanding for when the acceptable window to use it is. Because the window for it is finicky. If you try to space jump too early or too late, it just stops working. So I think that's why you only see very, very good runners go for that strat to exit the Ridley room, but it is faster. And hotarubi setting up for the damage boost off the Firefly onto the frozen one over here.
That was very nicely done.
Nintoaster going for oh, he got the does this actually have a name?
Oh. I'll put it on my list if it needs a name.
He got the thing that I personally am very bad at. hotarubi spin jumping into the door to PB's in jail to get a space jump onto the crumbles there. That's another strat that needs just really, really good understanding of when space jump will allow you to jump with it.
Toaster being pretty careful for these missiles here. It's a huge time loss if you fall through the crumble blocks there. Oh no, left side GT.
Yeah, I know that's your favorite, along with left side BT.
It is. You can still do the manipulation to where GT won't hit you on the left side. It's just not the ideal situation. Did he hit the supers? He did. He got him before.
I think so. How do we miss the damage boost over to the reserve tank area? Which is kind of a sucky one to miss. And I think Nintoaster is having issues with this green gate. So this green gate on the way out of Gold Chorizo and the one that's like above the Crocomire exit, I didn't realize this for, years, but the reason that those gate shots are so hard to hit is that there's actually a half tile underhang from the ceiling in front of them that's kind of guarding them.
Alright, now hotarubi will go visit Crocomire.
Yeah, so we're more or less going to see the route sync up after this. Oh, and setting up for the deboost off the Jeemer through the door transition. Supering it to make it fall off the wall. There's another strat where you do that with the Viola in the shaft after Crocomire that we're probably also going to see from them.
That strat is messes with the mind. I don't know what's going on there.
I could try to explain it, but I'll probably do it poorly.
Let's get the spike suit. Very nice.
The spike suit is really, really hard to get with Spring Ball, because you have to do an on-morph input in a 2-frame window, and then a jump input in a 1-frame window. And without Spring Ball, you could just use the same button for both. But if you have Spring Ball, then the jump button is not going to make you unmorph. So you have to actually press up. And that is pretty hard to do when you also have to press left at the same time to roll into the spike wall. So he's got one free Shrine Spark, which he plans to use on the X-Ray Hall to save about 5 seconds. And I don't think that Viola actually landed on him as kind of a precise strat to get it to land on you for the damage boost. But yeah, so he's got one Shrine Spark he can use at any point just by doing the inputs for Shrine Spark. And the main scary thing is to not do those inputs accidentally, because that's very easy to do. One of the really scary things is in this room, actually. It's really, really, like on your way up after he gets the cosine missiles here, it's really, really tempting to try and ledge grab the top ledge with angle up and shoot the door at the same time. But if you ledge grab with angle up, that's gonna set off your Shrine Spark. So he has to make sure that he lands and then shoots the door with an upshot.
Yeah, that could be especially hard if your only means of ledge grabbing is with the angle up, unless you want to use the D-pad, which is craziness.
Oh, I saw a strat that I haven't seen before, also possibly due to not paying attention enough, but I saw him do a spring ball to get out of the Crocomire door in the ceiling, which is just a really good way to make sure that you don't blow your Shine Spark by accident.
So with this, I think Nintoaster might be about 2 to 3 minutes behind.
I feel like I'm leaning more towards 3. But like I said earlier, I think Alright, he gets the Shine Spark through the X-Ray Hall. I think you do an unwarp at like a specific time there to correct the door transition as much as possible too. Just so much attention to detail. But yeah, I think the route differences. I always have a lot of trouble estimating how far apart people are when they do different routes for these particular things. Okay, wow, actually, I did not realize that part of the speed keep strat on the way out of X-Ray was to freeze the Yapping Mall and land on it. Land on it in Morph Wall so that you bounce into the spike instead of your first landing being directly onto a spike. And this section after X-Ray is, it's widely considered by really good runners to be one of the most difficult sections of the run. And there's a pretty big difference between difficulty in terms of survival and, you know, what the actual design of the game expects from you, and just the difficulty of getting the best possible strats for a speedrun. So even though you wouldn't think of this section as very dangerous, it has a lot of rooms that are really tough to do. The Bubble Mountain strat is so hard, though. I don't think either of them really got it in a satisfactory way. There's a lot of moving parts to it, because you want to set up for, you want to lay your power bomb, spring ball up, and then set up for a damage boost off that waiver. Get to the right side. There's so many little ledges in this room that it saves a lot of time if you can get the damage boost and do the room cleanly. If you don't get the strat that you're going for, then you're tripping on a lot of little ledges on the way to get to where you want to go.
I noticed a toaster tried to lay like a backup power bomb kind of where the item is there in Bubble Mountain, but it didn't quite hit the blocks. So I don't know if that's something he just thought to do on the fly, or if it's something that's actually worked for him before.
I don't know. I've never thought of that, but I've done similar things that I, didn't actually know if it would work or not.
Maybe he wanted to have jumped then lit the power bomb. That could be.
Okay, so Hoda about to get normally the last missiles, but since he has neither of the runners have done Gauntlet yet because of health management earlier. They're gonna both have to do it now, and also criteria PBs. I'm actually curious to see whether hotarubi is going to do a plasma wraparound shot to open the gauntlet door and do the gauntlet spark, or if he's just going to use screw attack to get through it. I don't actually know which one is faster. I think screw attack is faster though. Because that's what max percent GT code is doing. I see him charging a shot, so maybe wraparound. Yeah, he's going for a wraparound shot.
There, you got it.
That's one of the more arcane tricks. Like, it doesn't really seem to make sense why a shot going off the right side of the screen would open the door on the left. But there's another copy of the room to the right of the edge of the room. It basically is something like a parallel universe. And the reason that it's so precise for your shot to hit it is that when your shots go off screen, they despawn after 2 frames. So if you get a setup where it's still making contact with the copy of the door off screen in those 2 frames before it disappears, then you get the wraparound shot. And the reason for Spore Spawn skip shooting the super block from the back being so finicky is also because of that 2-frame rule.
Yeah, hotarubi looks to be on pace for something pretty close to his PB.
I feel like this is a 119, 118, high 118.
I think his PB, as far as I know, is 119.39. Which he actually got in a qualifier, I believe.
Even shooting him. Okay, that was pretty funny. I like it when the layout is like with the games super close together, and there are times when it looks like Samus is going in one door on one of the screens and coming out the other.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay, it looked like he was going for the damage boost from room 2 to room 3. Didn't get it, but the hit from the Renka actually did fix the door transition because of the knockback downwards. Okay, so he's gonna go for baby skip, and I don't know what method he goes for. I don't know if he's insane and goes for the really fast spring ball one. Okay, now he's just going for a pretty standard. Not using the space jump method either. Oh, not getting the down back inputs correctly for this appetite skip. So he's gonna back up to the spring ball method. Or the morph method, I guess. So you can actually do this without spring ball.
Yeah, just a little hiccup there, but hopefully the rest of Mother Brain goes smoothly for him.
The down back is another one of those things that if you do the inputs in the wrong order, you just go in the complete wrong direction.
I didn't see, but it looks like Nintoaster also did. Unless he turned off any of his beams, I'm not sure. But also did the plasma wraparound shot.
Yeah, he did a spark from midair, like didn't fall down onto the tree. I call that climbing the tree. But
I guess it kind of looks like a tree.
Yeah, it kind of does. Like especially like if you're climbing it from the bottom. That's how it feels like.
A bonsai tree.
Yeah, he used the skyline to line it up. And I don't think I've ever done that, so I don't know what to aim for, but it looks like he's done it before.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Hotarubi's setting up for stand-up glitch, and from what I've heard from people, if you stop space jumping, at the time when Mother Brain stops changing color, it makes it a bit more favorable to get her into a faster position. Like you're more likely to get a better cutscene. And you want to make sure that all the onion rings are connecting. And positions the baby at the far right of the screen at the very end to get it to swing back faster.
Wow, that's really cool. I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, so that is actually, like, in randomizer, that is actually a legitimate reason to do stand-up glitch, even if you don't have charge beam. And did he just do it? I think he did.
He did.
He just short-charged inside the room. I think that's a 13-tile short charge, I think.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Because the left wall is 2 tiles thick. How long is a room?
Oh, 16 tiles is one screen.
Okay, then 13 sounds right.
That's pretty sick. Cordy is the other person that usually is known for going for that and actually getting it somewhat regularly. So I think he's about to get a late gauntlet PB.
Hotarubi has finished in first place with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 19 seconds. GG Hotarubi.
Alright, and he will be moving on to the top 8. Where he'll be facing the winner of Shiny Zenny and Zeb316, who are actually going to race in 12.5 hours from now. So we'll get to see the result of that match. We'll see who faces who in the top 8.
Nintoaster gonna finish strong, show us his stand-up skills.
He turned off various soon, so not sure how much in the way of skills he's showing off there.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it is good to turn off various, but people generally play that earlier. That's not really necessary.
I actually thought more people turn it off than don't.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but like people combine it with an earlier menu.
Oh, I see.
And it's not necessary to do to the point where it's like worth it as the afterthought. Unless like you're only comfortable with doing it very off. Yeah, so this actually, stand-up activation actually works in the window from 700 to 999.
Yeah, and then the important thing is damaging down in time, which is slightly harder if you keep Varia on. But not bad if that's the setup you're comfortable with.
Yeah, you just have to get under 300.
Right, the stand-up was pretty close to perfect. Yeah, Tracy makes a good point. I've actually had that happen to me where the meatball was thrown at the right time and I damaged down and died, so yeah.
That's extremely unlucky that it can happen.
Yeah, unlucky and unlikely.
Alright, and we have a confirmed 100%. So all that stuff I said earlier is actually official.
Oh, good. Scheme. Alright, Nintoaster has finished in second place with the time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 54 seconds. GG Nintoaster.
He was actually 123.48, but he beat his old SRL race PB of 123.54.
Oh, sorry, I can't read.
And I saw somebody else made that mistake yesterday with a much bigger time difference, so it was kind of funny. Alright, so we're gonna see if Nintoaster would like to come in.
Hi, Nintoaster, welcome. GG to you.
Oh, hey, thank you.
So interesting that you both ended up doing late gauntlet because of wreck ship health management issues. Did you know that that's what was happening? Were you watching the stream or?
No, I wasn't watching the pre-stream. I was just kind of putting my head down and hoping for the best.
How do you feel like your run went?
Pretty typical showing for me. Just chunky movement, new and interesting mistakes, that sort of thing. But I mean, overall, it was still an improvement over my last run, I think, by a few seconds. So I guess every run's getting a little bit better. So whatever, I'll take that.
Yeah, it seems pretty typical for races.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the Golden Frieza fight was interesting. I wasn't even sure if you could lock him in the opposite corner, but I guess I know.
I love the left side Golden Frieza.
Yeah, work with what you got, I guess. That's what I mean by interesting mistakes that I don't typically make. For whatever reason, it seems like in races, it just happens. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, just all the time. Like I do the dumbest things in races, and I don't know why they happen. And I feel like the game just behaves differently. Like,
I blame the game too. So it's the game.
Yeah, the game knows that you're trying to play really well, and it just throws whatever it's got at you.
Yeah. I heard hotarubi has some trouble in the death room as well.
Yeah, he got a little bit closer to death than you. He actually popped his reserve.
Oh wow!
And I think he had like 40 health, and then hit a spike again, and then had 25 coming into the E-tank room.
Nice. So both clenchy. That's one of those rooms where, like, when it goes bad, it goes really bad really quickly, because often you kind of panic and you just don't know how to react, and you're taking damage from everything, and it's just... I thought for sure I was going to die there. I thought it was over. I'm like, yep, it's over. And then I just kind of recovered somehow. But...
Yeah, one of the issues that I've been having lately, personally, is, like, you know how if you unmorph, or, like, you try to ledge grab one of them, you cargo through it, and you take the hit from the enemy, right? So I try to avoid that, but sometimes you get hit anyways if your foot lands on the spike next to it, and it kind of looks like the same thing happened, even though you know you didn't hit the platform itself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a weird wonky room, and like typically for that room, I do the speedball strat or the bounce ball, but I knew my health was already low, so I didn't take the chance on that, but I ended up taking plenty of damage anyway, so there you go. Play it safe and things go worse.
You knew your health was low, so you went for the D boost.
Yeah, and it just, like the guys were saying, like I just was like maybe 1 pixel shy of the platform and took the damage from the spikes, and then chaos ensued.
Oh, you made it to the top 16. Congratulations.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much. I mean, I figured I'm here by a fluke anyways. Scotty would have destroyed me had he not had that strange mishap. But yeah, it was a good race. It was an honor to race hotarubi, because I think we all kind of have a warm spot for him, being one of the OG runners. And actually, when I was running this category, maybe a couple years ago, one of my goals was to beat his hundo time, and eventually did that. But now, obviously, he's back and in better shape than ever. So I think I'll just let him take the W.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like, those are some of my goals now, and now that's gone for me.
Yeah, he's a great player. I mean, lots of people that have been running this game for a while now.
The really interesting, I was going to say the really interesting thing for me about this matchup, though, is like compared to Scotty, you were closer in PB to hotarubi, so there was more of a chance of this race to go your way.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what his current PB is. I know it's definitely better than what it was. I'm not sure if he posts on Gear Tier speedrun anymore, but
I think it's the run he just got.
Yeah, I think this is his PB, because I was watching him earlier today. And according to his splits, this is his PB by 22 seconds, I think.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, because I don't know if he was sub 120 before. He might have been. I'm not too sure, but I know his PB on Gear Tier was like a 123 something.
His first sub 120 was in the qualifiers.
Gotcha. That's great. Then he's improved quite a bit. Yeah, it's one of those categories where, I mean, it's even just watching other runners, I'm starting to realize how like antiquated a lot of my strats are. I'm using strats from like 4 years ago that I haven't updated. It's one of those things where it's just laziness, and it's just such a long category. You got to spend a lot of time updating and practicing and stuff. So
I'm in that position too, because like commentating the race, I saw a lot of strats, and it's like, yeah, I know like top runners probably do this strat. I didn't know that. I probably should know this strat, but I don't.
Yeah, every now and then I'll watch back the race, and I'll hear the commentators, and they're like, I don't know why he's doing that strat. This one's faster. I'm like, oh yeah. Because it's just literally, I just haven't really updated a lot of stuff in this category. So I just learned spring ball skip like a couple weeks ago, and that was, I put that off because I figured it was a pain to learn, but it was actually super easy, and now I'm like, I don't know why I didn't learn that sooner. So
sorry, which trick?
Spring ball zeb skip, sorry.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's actually because I used to do the speed booster, or shine spark skip, and yeah, it's just I was getting pretty consistent with it, and then it's just like, well, it's if you don't do it all the time, you start to lose it, and that's finally took the plunge and learned the spring ball zeb skip, and it's a lot easier, a lot more consistent. So.
Yeah, I lost my sub 120 in qualifiers to messing up because I didn't get the ranks of spawns correct. And I should have just gone for the shine strike skip. Yeah, but that's like a really good example also of just the really weird things that go wrong in races.
Yeah. Right.
But
yeah, so there she goes.
GG Nintoaster, I thought you played very, very well. It sucks missing some things that you normally get, but yeah, very, very good run in this tournament. Very proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Any final
defer the runs to much better players.
Well, right, if anyone has any final thoughts, feel free to say.
I don't know if hotarubi's listening, but good luck, man. Good luck in the next round. And it's good to see you back. And thanks for the race. It was an honor. And yeah, good luck on future runs.
All right. Oh, go ahead.
No, you can do it.
Oh, all right. Hope to see you guys back on SpeedGaming tonight at 11 p.m. for Shiny Zenny versus Zeb316. That match will decide who goes on to face hotarubi in the next round. So, hope to see you there tonight. Thank you, Azure, for commentating with me, and thank you, chat. And GG's to our runners today. That'll be all for us. Have a good day.
Alright, good night, everyone.
Good night.